What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Just want to say welcome to this episode and edition of This Brother Talks. Um, just want to say anybody who gets on something I really say and I really appreciate, anybody to take time out to come and check out something that you're doing and, participate and, just showing love or whatever. So anybody who gets on, participate, I just want to say I really appreciate it. I really look forward to your responses and things that you do, the interaction and stuff that you have. So again, just want to say thank you for checking it out. Today we're going to talk about a couple of different things, a few different things, not a couple, a few different things. We're going to talk about, the latest injury to KD, the latest on Deshaun Watson and the allegations against him about sexual assault. Something that's really big that nobody's really paying a big attention to is the WNBA and their new jerseys, and we'll get a little bit more into that, and you understand why it's a big deal to me. We'll do NBA power rankings, and also we'll discuss some things that's been happening in AAU basketball, and then I'll get my final word. I'll tell you about that towards the end. So we're gonna dive right into things, and we're gonna talk about our first thing. And the first thing is KD's latest injury. Yesterday, the Nets were playing. Was it yesterday? Well, it was one of them days. I can't remember what day. I'm so confused with the days. But they played the Miami Heat. KD looked good, looked unstoppable for the first few minutes of the game, and then shortly after that, he leaves with an injury. Come to find out, it's a thigh contusion, which those could be a little bit tricky because, the contusion is, deep down in the muscle and all that. It just depends on how severe it is and how deep that contusion is. They don't know how severe it is. They're just saying it's really sore, which, that's common for a contusion. They already know he's out tomorrow's game against the Pelicans. Me personally, I think it's going to be day-to-day. Simply because it's a contusion. I don't think it's nothing major, but they're gonna get an MRI just to to be on the safe side, just to be sure. I honestly think that he probably could have came back into the game yesterday, the last game, and played, but I think it's more so the Nets trying to make sure that he's good and healthy for the playoffs. Because KD's one of those guys where his game is not predicated on athleticism or anything like that. It's more shooting, coming off screens. He can, handle the ball, take to the hole, whatever. But so him being ready for the playoffs is, I think, is more important to the Brooklyn Nets versus, finishing a game here. Because, we already see that they're probably going to finish, more than likely they're going to be finished in the top 4 of the East. And, but if KD's not healthy, I think that, James and Kyrie, they can, make some noise in the East, probably make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And depending on what Philly team they play against, I don't know if they can beat Philly without KD. It's a possibility, but if they do make to the finals without KD being healthy, anybody in the West, I think would beat them easily in a 7-game series. I think KD is the key to them winning because playoff basketball, it slows down. Kyrie shown that he can be, a big-time player come playoff times, but we haven't seen that out of James Harden. And I'm not going to hold against him because the past is the past, but we have not seen him do great things in the playoffs. He come up short quite a few times. He, lay eggs or whatever and just don't play well in big moments of the playoffs. So, but KD's latest, it's unfortunate that he keep having these little nagging injuries. And that's what usually happens whenever you have a major injury. You get like little nagging injuries, like, with the hamstring and not this. And this right here is just basically somebody hitting you or kneeing you or something like that. And it gets down deep down, into, that muscle. And so I think it's day to day. I think he's going to be just fine. And I think it's more so the Nets basically, just holding him out and playing on the safe side. They end up losing the game off of Bam Adebayo last second shot, which, I don't think that bothers Brooklyn that much, because I think their mindset is we just get to the playoffs and we stay healthy. Everything else take care of itself. They feel like they can beat anybody in the West. I mean, in the East, even and in the West, if they get to the finals, that, as long as they're healthy, they have KD, James, and Kyrie, that they can beat anybody in the NBA. And that's yet to be seen. They haven't played a whole lot of games together, which I think that's, a big issue. But with this brand of NBA basketball, it doesn't take a lot for chemistry, because everybody's doing the same thing. It's not like everybody just has, these different sets that, somebody got to run. It's more high pick and rolls, penetrating pitch, one-on-one, stuff like that. So I think they'll be fine when it's all said and done. But his latest injury is just like, that this is something that may be a little nagging, because if it's one of those deep thigh contusions, it could take a little bit of time for that to heal. But, we'll see. I wish him a speedy recovery. And like I said, I feel like it's not a big deal, but we shall see, because they're saying he's going to have an MRI. So we'll see what happens from there. And so, we wish KD a speedy recovery. Hope everything work out for him, because I do want to see him in the playoffs. So I do want to see him, when that time comes, when the lights are bright. And so we're going to move right along. We're going to go to our next topic. Our next topic is the Deshaun Watson latest. This right here has been real bizarre to me from the start. And I'll say this: I don't condone anybody, doing any type of sexual assaults or anything like that. I don't condone that. But I've always had my speculations about it because of the timing of it, and then also how many women is coming out. And so the latest is that, his attorney has, filed answers and to all the, accusations and lawsuits. And so he filed, and basically that's just answering the allegations, giving their side of the story, how they're going to approach it, all that good stuff. One of the crazy things is one female decided that she was going to drop her suit, which I thought that was kind of iffy for her to do. And she said it was due to privacy and security concerns. And I really have an issue with that. I really do. I really have an issue with it. And this right here is coming from a female, which, that part, Sabrina, timing and a number will make you say, and then, yeah. And the lawyer's tied with 10. I know all of that. And that's the other stuff that makes me question everything. And then the number of women that have come out. And most of the time, I'm not one of these rich celebrities, but if I go to a masseuse and that masseuse is good, what sense do it make for me to go to, another masseuse over here and another masseuse over there? And then, it just didn't sound right to me. So, so the one woman dropped her suit for privacy and security concerns. It's a lot of stuff that didn't happen. I got some notes and I'm reading over them. The lawyer for Deshaun Watson has come out and said this is a mischaracterization on his conduct. Says that some is misleading, fraudulent, and slanderous. And some of the massage therapists, after the alleged assault happened, still wanted to work with him. Now, if somebody does me like that, I'm not going back to him. Why would I want to continue to do business with this person if they are making me feel uncomfortable? They doing stuff that, making me do stuff that I don't want to do. So that's a big question mark. And then it says some bragged and praised, about it for them being able to massage Deshaun Watson and all that good stuff. So if you're bragging about it, like, why would you brag that, oh yeah, I'm giving him a massage and stuff like that, and this person is sexually assaulting you? That don't sound right to me. And then it also says that 5 of the women stated they wanted to get money out of Deshaun Watson, which I felt like it was a money grab from the start because it's no criminal charges. All these are civil charges, and that's basically money. That's what it all boils down to, is money. So why not go after him criminally if he sexually assaulted you? That should be the first part of it. Then the next part should be the civil side. If if you felt like you want to go that far and you wanted to take it further. And so that's been my biggest issue with everything, is like, why didn't we have any criminal charges against him? It went straight to the money. And I just feel like this is an attack on a young, Black, educated man that doesn't want to be a part of a situation. And this owner has, and it is not proven that, this is just my opinion, this owner has, come out and staged an attack against this guy. Because if Deshaun Watson doesn't ever ask for this trade, do all this stuff come out? Does all this stuff come out? All of a sudden, he wants to be traded. Everybody wants out of the organization, but he's the only one that you're trying to make stay. You gave J.J. Watt a chance to leave. You traded, everybody else, and all this good stuff. And so my issue is this: is like, I don't condone sexual assault, but at the same time, is this really a logical thing? Like, I mean, think about it. You have everybody coming out talking about let it play out, let it play out, let it play out. Yes, I agree with letting it play out, but at the same time, this right here is killing somebody's reputation. It's because at the end of the day, when you Google this guy, it's gonna always come up, regardless if we find out it's not true. It's gonna always come up. So somebody further down the line is gonna be like, who is Deshaun Watson? And this right here, they're gonna Google him, and this right here is gonna come up. And I just think it's wrong. I think it's slanderous, and if the owner has something to do with it, I think it's bogus and it's BS. Like, no one should have to go through anything like this. 22 women that's supposed to be his massage therapist, all of a sudden, all of them come out. One dropped charges because she was afraid of security and privacy concerns, knowing good and well everything is no privacy whenever you're coming out against a celebrity. What privacy are you going to have? Like, what privacy are you going to have? So I'm just interested to see how many more of these other cases are going to come out. Their lawyer come out and said the best that Deshaun Watson them could do was just basically say that these brave women are liars. And I mean, if he did it, I'll be the first to say that he's wrong. But if he didn't do it, what do we do to this lawyer and these women who have come out and made these allegations against these guys? Somebody has to be held accountable. And, with everything that's happening now, I think his lawyer has done a great job of allowing things to unfold. And now he's responding to everything because he wanted to see how many was going to be, what the allegations were. And then, a judge has made most of these women come out and show their identity. That's one of the biggest things. They didn't want to show their identity, but if you're making an allegation against me and you're suing me, then show yourself, show your face. If you're brave enough to do it, you should be brave enough to say who you are and all of that good stuff. And again, I don't condone this if he's done it. If he is guilty of this and we find out that he was, then he is wrong. But right now, and me personally, it just makes me like cringe and think about it more, because it's just a lot that happened all of a sudden. And the timing was the craziest about me. Like, I can understand if it happened and then, you know, you let somebody know, you had an outcry, but you wait until now, and this lawyer all of a sudden picks up all of these cases, and everybody all of a sudden get brave and want to say what happened. But as long as he was paying, you were good. So, you know, we'll see what happened with that whole situation. And, you know, hopefully, you know, Deshaun comes out of this and, you know, everything works out well for him. You know, I just hope that he didn't do any of this stuff, because it wouldn't be a good look for him. It wouldn't be a good look for the black athlete to start out with in the first place, because we already have enough going against us. And for something like that to happen, it would just really, 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 really look bad on his behalf. And so we're going to move to something that I really liked. I posted it a few weeks ago, and it was a big deal to me. And, you know, the WNBA New Jerseys, a lot of people don't realize this. So I'm gonna see if I can show this video real quick. So you check this video out, and then, you know, I'll talk about it. So let's see if this video plays.
Hello. Your uniforms are here. Ooh. 25 years. 25th WNBA season.
Those are jerseys. So shout out to Nike.
Oh. Do you see the material? We done come a long way, okay? Uniforms. Got a little grunge action.
I feel like these are gonna look crazy on the court.
Look at that. Okay. Yeah, this one's tough.
These jerseys are fresh.
Oh my God, these are cute. And then we got the black, biggie, black.
I always wanted black uniforms in Chicago.
This is the Rebel Edition. Oh, I like that.
This is my favorite.
Probably my favorite one.
Maya, you wanna try this on? Love that it says equality.
This outline is a map from Marcus in DC.
I like the marble on the side. I cannot wait to get on court and wear them. So excited to wear them.
All right, I hope you checked out that video. And real quick before I get on that, Neil, yes, I agree with you. Sexual accusations are easy to smear for no matter what color or creed. I totally agree with you, but it cuts deeper whenever in sports with the black athlete, in my personal opinion, because of societal things. But I totally agree with you. I agree with you on that. All right, so I just showed a video of the WNBA New Jerseys, and this is a big deal to me simply because a lot of people never paid this any attention. After 25 years, they finally get their own personal jerseys. All the jerseys in the WNBA were the same. They all had the same exact jersey. Only thing they did was change the colors on each one of them to fit the team. So a lot of people may not think this is a big deal. They might not think it's a big deal, but it's a big deal because now they have something that they can call their own. All the other jerseys were exactly the same, just different colors, and then put the other team name on it. Now they have stuff like, you know, I shout out to Nike for even, you know, doing this. They talked to the WNBA females, and they did something that they would like, you know, because, you know, the NBA have their own jersey. They got city jersey editions and all that good stuff. I think this is a big step in the right direction, because if you looked at the old jerseys and you'd be like, oh man, that's some crap, because all of them were the same. Now they have their own, like now, you know, people who are WNBA fans, you know, the young ladies who like these WNBA players can now say, okay, I have a piece of them now. These jerseys are, you know, exclusive. They're made for each individual team. And after 25 years, they finally did something right by the females. Like Nike really did it. So, you know, shout out to Nike for doing that. Shout out to the WNBA for finally getting something that was on. Like if you watch the video, a lot of those women were just like in awe and happy that they finally can say something was theirs. Like, you know, no jersey is exactly the same. Is exactly the same. So it's a big deal to me, because now if you wanted to go buy a WNBA jersey, it wouldn't be the same as the jerseys from years past, because it's totally different now. Chicago has their own, I like the fact that Seattle Storm went back to the old look of the the Supersonics and all that good stuff. That's near and dear to that place there. Not saying the jerseys wasn't that color, but they went back to what the Supersonics jerseys kind of look like. And then they got like 3 different jerseys, which is a big deal because the NBA got like 10 different jerseys. You get some jokers they got the city edition, they got the home, they got the away, they got an alternate, they got this, they got that, they got all of them. But see, now the women have something they can say is theirs now. They can switch it up from time to time. So I think it will bring a better feel and a better look to the game. It's not a big deal to some of you, but it's a big deal to me because I liked it from the first time I saw it. Like, now you can market these women the way that you're supposed to. Now, their jersey sales can go up because now it's something that's nice. It's not just something that just looks like, okay, it's just something you can have. Now these jerseys can be something that you can style, profile, do whatever you want to do with it, because it's different from all the rest. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna get a Storm jersey just because it's green and yellow, but then okay, I get me a Sparks jersey. It's the same exact jersey, it just got the Sparks logo and it's just purple and gold. And I really think it's a big deal. Shout out to Nike for doing this after 25 years. Is something they can call their own. That's the big thing. That's the biggest thing to me. Like now they have a part in designing because the women's game has evolved. It's growing, and I hope it continues to get bigger. And this right here is a marketing tool for them, so they can get jersey sales, and then they can get more money because in the collective bargaining agreements, the CBAs, they all this stuff is money generated. So the more money that comes in, the more money that they make, and that's the biggest thing to me. Everybody wants to talk about equal pay for women, but the only way they're gonna be able to get equal pay or somewhat close to equal pay is they got the same revenues or close to the same revenues come in. So the more revenues they have coming in, the more money they make. And this is a great tool to start that process, or another tool to end that process because they already up their pay, in the last CBA. But then this right here will help out even more because a lot of you don't know this. In the CBA, like the sale of jerseys and all that good stuff, it goes into part of them getting paid or whatever. So I like the fact of them doing that. That was a huge deal for me. I was excited for them. I really liked it, and I know they did. I think everybody should be excited for them because it's something new, it's something different, and it's something to uplift them. So shout out to Nike again. Shout out to the WNBA for their new jersey. So when their season come around, they just had a draft and everything. Their season come around, we'll start seeing different looks. You can see them wear somewhat like of a city edition or something like that. They got, I think it's called the Rebel edition. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm not looking forward to seeing. I wasn't looking forward to seeing like the same thing, the same bland jersey they had. So I'm glad that Nike stepped up and changed things up for them. So shout out to the women again. Shout out to Nike. And we're going to keep moving right on along. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is AAU basketball. I played AAU. A lot of you play AAU. And it's just not the same anymore. And it really has gotten bad. It's really disgusting what's going on in AAU basketball. Everybody is at games and they think that, their kid is the best, their team should win. The referees are always against them, and the problem I have with that, it always leads to something bad. Before I get on, the AAU part of it, I remember we had went to one of our son's game, and our youngest didn't go. He stayed at home this time, and we were sitting up in it was in the summer, and we were standing up behind the seats they had around the bleachers. Around the court, and my son's teammate and another player got into it. And all of a sudden, everybody started rushing the court and all this good stuff. And I jumped the railing. My wife jumped the railing because we wanted to try to de-escalate everything. And it went to, parents running on the court trying to fight the players. And so my wife got a couple of players and held them over into the corner. I grabbed a couple of more of them. And then I had some kids that come up to me and was like, had their hands balled up, wanting to hit me. I'm a pretty nice sized guy. And so I looked at them and I told them, like, y'all don't really want it this way. And so they ran off and went and tried to go somebody else when they seen I wasn't about to put up with that bull crap. And so I'm holding kids back from fighting and stuff like that. And that was the wildest situation I had seen in any AAU sport. And this was like a summer league game or whatever, so I was shocked whenever that happened. It was almost like we watched it. I was like, man, are we, watching people just almost like they opened up the floodgates and everybody was coming in. I didn't know what was happening. I was like, man, what is this going on? And so, now, and that was just something freakish that happened because we were playing against a team and it was a bit different. Some of the guys had, the coach had got some players together. Some of them had ankle bracelets on. So, they had already had, some problems here and there. So, that's the wildest thing I've seen happen. But here lately, I've been seeing referees and parents fighting, the kids jump in fighting, all types of stuff. They just had an incident in Indiana, where a parent was videoing the referee and the referee slapped his phone and slapped at the parent. And next thing you know, they get into a tussle. His daughter comes over and start hitting the referee. The next thing you know, he slams the referee. Now, this is going on all the time. But here's the crazy part. I had a friend, Brian Carter. We all in a group chat together, and he sends us this screenshot, and it said that a parent shot a coach over the kids' playing time. I said, what in the world? And so I read the article, and the article states that the parent wasn't happy about the playing time. So him and the coach got into an altercation out in the parking lot. The parents didn't like what the coach had to say, so he pulled out a gun, shot him, fled the scene. They ended up locking him. So now he's locked up for attempted murder over an AAU basketball game. I don't get how AAU has turned so sideways and backwards. These are just two incidents. This right here, Tracy, I seen you just pop up. Say your son play AAU, and I see a lot of these parents are the major problem. That is the biggest problem. That is the biggest problem. A lot of these parents, and I'm going to talk about parents later on in my final word, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but they are the biggest problem. They want these kids to be pros when they're not. The kids can't even enjoy, the sport because of the parents and everything that goes on. Now, I've been to games. I give referees hard times, but it's all out love and fun. And the referees know it because I don't come at them, aggressively. I can say stuff and smile and, Mr. Ref this, and then, they might interact back with me. But I'm not to the point where I'm going to fight a referee or I'm going to fight a coach because my child doesn't get playing time or the playing time that I feel like the child should get. And that's the biggest problem, like with AAU. It has allowed so many people to get into it just because you go and take a test and it says you're qualified and all that good stuff. No, it shouldn't be that way. They need to stop all this crap by letting these parent coaches come in, and then they form these teams full of everybody that feel the same way about them, feel the same way that they feel. And they come into these gyms, they loud, obnoxious, they causing all types of problems. They disrespecting other people's kids. Brian, you said they keep doing this and they will stop renting out these sports complexes to event planners. Then the kids will not have anywhere to play. I totally agree with you because that's what it all boils down to. Travis, yeah, it was stuff like this that happened in the 90s. Like, I'm not saying this stuff never happened, but what I'm saying now is it is more of it now than it's ever been. You had, in sports, you're going to have altercations. Don't get me wrong about that. You're going to have altercation in sports. It's been times where we've been in games, and I think, we had some of the nicest, educated kids on our teams and stuff. But sometimes emotions get in the way, and you might almost fight or you get into it with somebody, and it's over and done with on the court. I done seen that happen plenty of times during my time of playing. But now, it is bad now. It's god awful. It was awful when my kids were playing, and now it's 3, 4, 5 years removed, and it's getting even worse. Me personally, I just don't see it. And Brian, I see you saying this right here. We've talked about this right here. The event planner has to refund teams when they shut events down, but they don't get the refund for the facilities. They take a major loss, and that's the reason why some of the you got to start vetting a lot of these programs. I would turn some of these event planners is kind of their fault, in my opinion, because they're more so trying to get abundance of teams versus getting quality teams. So, it shoots themselves in the foot, Brian, whenever they do that, because if the facilities shut everything down, then they have to refund these teams their money, and they don't get the money back for the facility. So I think they should vet these teams a whole lot more, and you will have better showings. Travis, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, because that is one of the biggest problems. That's one of the biggest problems. Neil, parents many times, they view it as an investment for college and NBA. Fun has been left behind. We respect each other back in the day. We love the competition. Yeah, I agree with you, Neil. That's how it used to be. And so now everybody feels like their child is going to be the next Michael Jordan, the next Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. They all think that. They all think it. And so now it's more so, it's bad for the sport. It's just, me personally, I think it's bad for basketball, because you keep getting looks like this. And what people fail to realize is this right here. Regardless of what goes on in the AAU games, you get in a fight, that's going to follow you. Like, if the referees make a bad call, you all in the referee face, because they're going to make bad calls. Just like you're going to make mistakes. You're going to miss shots. You're going to turn the ball over. The referees are going to miss calls. They're going to make bad calls. And at the end of the day, that is going to follow you. So when you in these teams also, and if I was running a tournament, I would be vetting these jokers like crazy. I would have to see, let me see what your last tournament results were. So, right, like when you come in, you fill out this application to come to mine. It ain't just because you pay no money. Let me contact the last sporting event that you was with, because all of them are there. Like, you got all these big groups. They know what team's been there, so they can tell you, oh, you don't want to deal with this team. And I've seen that happen before. But it's been bad for the sport. It's bad for the kids, and it's a bad look for the parents to me. You're up in the stands, causing ruckus, and I've seen parents, berate other people's kids, and that's not something that you do. That's just not something you do. And I wouldn't stand for it if you sitting there berating my child. That's one thing I'm not about to do. I'm going to correct you, and I'm going to let you know that's my child. You're not about to do that, so you might as well kill that noise right now. And if you're going to do it, you might want to go somewhere else because I'm not about to listen to it. And no parent should do anything like that. And I think it's just a bad look for AAU. I just think that, Jen is correct. All these parents think their kids the best. And it's not necessarily, dealing with who's the best or who whatever. Let these kids enjoy sport. That's one thing I will say. I enjoyed AAU. I enjoyed it because we had, a good group of guys that I played with. The parents were, level-headed, understood that this is just a game. We're going to be competitive. We leave it all on the floor. We're having a good time. Now, these kids can't even enjoy it. And then they're watching what their parents do. If this parent and the referee got into a fight and the daughter comes over and start hitting the referee, that's going to continue to follow her and follow her. I don't care how wrong the referee was for slapping at her parent. She shouldn't have got involved in that. That was between the parent and the referee. The referee was in the wrong. I can't tell you what the parent was doing. The video wasn't that great and clear. I don't know if he was videoing them, antagonizing them, whatever the case may be. It was wrong on both halves. It was wrong. It was completely wrong. And I just feel like it's a bad look. It's a very bad look for, for AAU. It's a bad look for the kids because after a while, like Brian said, they're not going to be able to get these facilities. The facility is going to be like, no, we can't fool with y'all. They'll find something else to do. They'll find, some volleyball tournaments to take up that time and make that money and all that good stuff. Because you have volleyball tournaments, you ain't having no trouble out of there. But basketball, for some particular reason, it's just been bad. And like Travis said, it happened in the 90s. I agree. It happened in the 90s, but it is worse now. You start to see this every AAU tournament that you go to because they are allowing any and everybody to get into these tournaments and they don't vet them. And people are getting teams that they just put together from, the neighborhood. Everybody not good and they think they're good and, their parents help, pay some money or they did a fundraiser. So they feel like they're entitled to something. And I just don't think that it's a good look. And that's just my personal opinion. A lot of people might think that I'm wrong for that, but at the end of the day, it's not a good look. And if it continues to happen, then a lot of these places are going to start shutting things down. And I will say this, and I can't just blame it on AAU. I say AAU in general because you have all of these other leagues and stuff that have really taken over from just AAU. You have the YBAL, and they got the US basketball. They got all different types of stuff. Neil said, sorry, my friend, my daughter, volleyball tournament can be insane. Plus the girls ref other teams. Yeah, I agree with you, but it can't be as bad as these basketball tournaments have been. And they got all different type of organizations besides AAU, and I think we say AAU in general, but you have all different type of amateur sports organizations. Let me see some of the other names of them. I think one of them was, because there's a bunch of tournaments that we went to. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but for the most part, there we go. Brian, you got the EYBL, the Adidas Circuit, Under Armour, but then they have some other ones too that you can go to. It's just a bunch of them. It's a bunch of them. But yeah, I agree with you on those. And it's just not a good look for sports right now. They getting all these leagues and everything, and they everybody want to be different. Everybody wants to have their own thing, and it's not a good look. Yeah, Reebok has one that's smaller, but they got a bunch of them, and so I coached, and I had to take these certified tests to be a coach and all that good stuff, really. But those things don't really, like, I had to take the USA basketball, class and all that stuff. But just because I take that class and I pass that, that doesn't hold to my character. And that's what people fail to realize. Anybody can get into it. The only thing I got to do is get in there, pass that, and they say I'm certified and I can go and coach. I pay my AAU dues or pay whatever dues I got to pay, and I'm good. I'm good to go. And that's all it is. I feel like they got to do a better job of vetting people. They got to, because it's about to get to the point where, like Brian said, it's not going to be enough people that's going to be willing to open up these facilities to have these tournaments, and the kids going to not have anywhere to play. It's plain and simple. So we're going to move along. We're going to go to NBA power rankings. I'm not going to stay in this long because I said I was going to do it, and I thought about not doing it today, but the power rankings are really not a big deal to me because we're getting down to the nitty gritty. But right now we got the 76ers, the Suns, Jazz, Nets, and Clippers. 76ers had 2 big wins against the Clippers and also against the Nets. My only issue with the 76ers is mentally, like, they giving up leads and all that good stuff, so we'll see. The Suns had a 10-game home game winning streak snap, but they still, one of the top teams in the NBA. The Jazz, they're 3-1 since the Donovan Mitchell sprained ankle. You got the Nets. They just lost to the 76ers and they lost to the Heat. Then KD got that thigh contusion, and then the Clippers just lost to the 76ers as well. But that's my top 5 right now, my NBA power rankings. Like I said, I'm not going to stay with that one very long, but I am going to stay into the NBA, and I'm going to discuss something that really bothers me a little bit, and it's called load management. A lot of people, me and some friends, like I said, we're in a group chat. Me and my nephew TC, Brian Carthens, Corey Carthens, and David Carthens. We all in the group chat, and we just talk about stuff all the time. And I can talk to them because we all can say stuff and we can agree to disagree, but everything that we talk about is kind of logical. So if Brian make a comment that I may not agree with, I have to listen to it and I have to pay attention to it because it all makes sense. I might not totally agree, and he may change my mind on it. And the same thing with me and him. Like, I'd say something, he'd think about it in a different light. He was like, I never thought about it that way. So we all are kind of like that. But we talked about load management before. And I had this conversation with my brother, and load management is a big deal. Like, it's something that's going on in sports nowadays. It's not that you can just say, oh, they load managing. No, they going by analytics and doing this load management, which I think is terrible for the game of basketball. Because ultimately, if I go to a game and I'm going to see the Brooklyn Nets and they playing against the Lakers, and I'm just using this as a hypothetical because I'm just using this for an example. Everybody's healthy, and LeBron James sit out, and Kevin Durant, Kyrie sit out. I paid my money to go see those guys. That's who I want to see. Nothing against the other guys, but you're not going to charge me a whole bunch of money for, these tickets, and I can't see the best players play. These guys feel like they can sit out, rest, but they still get paid. My issue with it is we see a lot of injuries now. And these injuries that we're having, and like I said, Travis, I said that it's nothing. I said it was a hypothetical that they set out the game. I'm not talking about LeBron. Brian, yes, the game management practice too soft. No, Brian, you said practice too soft. They don't practice. That's the thing. So I know, they might go for film for 30 minutes and they get on the floor for 30 minutes. That's not a practice. You're just shooting around. That's what you're doing. There's nothing you're getting done. So, but now you're seeing back in the day, I say it all the time. In the 80s and 90s and a little bit of the early 2000s, the game was more physical. And you saw less injuries than you see now, where the game is, you're seeing non-contact injuries in this game now. And my issue with it is, and I want everybody to hear me out on this one right here. Everything to me is about repetition. And this is my thought process on why we're having so many injuries that's going on, like the Achilles and the ACLs and, the knee problems, all that good stuff. Here's the reason why, in my opinion, this stuff is happening. And see, Travis, I'm going to bring up LeBron James. LeBron James don't load manage. He just had something freakish happen to him. He hurt his ankle. But for the most part, this guy's durable. He's in games. He show up. He plays. He doesn't load manage. That's one thing I can respect about LeBron James. And anytime he gets injured, is something that's like kind of freakish or whatever. And I think it's more repetition than anything. LeBron goes in practice. He treats his body the same. And then he goes to the game and he does the same thing. Whereas you got all these other guys who are not playing, not practicing, and they're sitting out. They're sitting out, and then they get in games and they want to play 40, 45 minutes a game. And their body is acting kind of weird on them because they're like, I'm not used to this. It's just like a weightlifter we go lift weights. We go lift weights, and I'm constantly lifting weights. And I'm safe in doing it. And, but if I go lift weights today and don't go back for another 2 weeks and feel like I'm just going to be able to do the same thing, that's how you get injured. And I feel like this is what's happening with the NBA. These guys don't practice. They don't play. They're monitoring their steps. They try to make sure they don't do nothing. And their body is in great shape. Don't get me wrong about that. But their body doesn't know what's going on because they're not used to it. And the problem is repetition. If you don't practice, you don't play, you sit out this game, you play this game, you sit out 2 or 3 games, and then when you come back, you're trying to play 40, 45 minutes. It's not good for the body. Travis, I agree with you. They said it's Pop's fault, but this is my thing with Greg Popovich. When Greg Popovich did it, they were on back-to-back road trips. So you had an aging Tim Duncan, you had an aging Manu Ginobili, you had an aging Tony Parker. These guys now are in the prime of their career. These guys haven't played, the 12, 13, 14. That's what I respect about LeBron. Like, I'm telling you, I'm not the biggest LeBron James fan, but I respect the hell out of him because he approaches the game differently than everybody else. James Harden the same way. James don't miss games unless he hurt. KD kind of the same way. If he's hurt, he misses game. But if he's not injured, he's going to play. These guys will not do it now. Neil, you said you are correct to add to increase that. Yes, it does that every time. LJ, Kawhi, I'm not blaming it on one particular person, but he is one of the people that it irks me to see him sitting on the sideline when he's completely healthy. But then people are trying to say he's one of the best in the world. You can't be the best in the world sitting your ass on the bench, not playing. And that's how I feel about it. Like, I just feel like, the load management is killing the game. It's not just killing the game because these guys don't play. It's killing the games because they're getting injured. The guys who you see are playing and they don't have load management. Travis, I just seen this comment. You dang all right, man. Nobody on the Sacramento Kings should be load managing. Nobody at all. Nobody. But, for these guys to be taking time off, and it's just troublesome to see that these guys get paid. Like people try to say, oh, they playing basketball. No, they playing basketball, but this is their job. And you want to take off from your job to rest. Like, that's what I respect about the older generation. Them guys showed up to play. They showed up to play. You can't tell me these guys playing in this ticky-tack era where you can't play defense. It's offensive oriented. So like if any type of defense is a foul, you're going to, there's nowhere in the world you can say that you need load management when you ain't getting beat up every night. So they need to stop this because it's making it's making it bad for the game. Yeah, I agree with you on that, Brian. He lost a lot of respect with me when he did it with San Antonio because I don't think he was hurt then. I just think he wanted out. And that's just my personal. I don't think he was hurt then. But at the end of the day, I think load management is killing the game of basketball because your body needs repetition. Your body needs all of that. What LJ say? LJ say, may not even want to buy a ticket, especially taking your child to see these favorite players. They might not. LJ, and that's my biggest thing. That is my biggest thing. Like, you decide you want to take your kids to a game, then this player, they want to see, a certain player, and this player doesn't play. They're sitting on the sideline and they're not hurt. Now, if they're hurt and you already know it, you decide to take the child out, that's totally different. But, knowing this person is completely healthy and then they don't show up to play. And that's the troublesome thing. And Neil, that's what I respect about the older players. They would come out and play when they were damn near crippled. Like, I agree with you. That's the biggest thing with me is these guys that they show up to play. And that's the other thing I'm gonna touch on, Brian. This will not go well with the owner's next collective bargaining agreement. That TV deal is gonna be so different because ESPN and ABC not about to give this money, knowing good and well that these players may not show up. Yeah, I agree with you. LJ, I agree with you, but it's just ridiculous that you got to take it that far. A load management list, like it's bad that you got to take it that far. But the next CBA is going to be hard. Like, this is what's about to happen. Y'all mark my words. The next collective bargaining agreement, and I think it's in 2 years they can opt out of it. In 2 years, the NBA will probably go with less guaranteed contracts, and it's going to be a hard cap whenever it comes these guys want to load manage and all that good stuff. Well, Jay, you asked a good question. It's a little bit of both, but the reason why it's that way is because now you got players that make 10 times more than coaches, 30 times more than coaches. You got players that's making $40 million a year, and you got a coach that's making 5, 6, 7. So a player can go to a coach and tell a coach, I don't want to play this game. I'm going to sit out. I got this little problem. I got that little problem. And management are protecting their investment, and they're saying, okay, this is management. These ain't owners. So we'll see what's going to happen. That's a good question, but I think it starts with the players because it's a player-driven league because they make more money than coaches now. You didn't have this problem back in the day where, you didn't have the crazy TV deals. Now, these players work to get the situation in the NBA where they can have nice TV deals, but it's going to come back and bite them simply because the TV deal, they're getting paid off of it, but the TV station are losing money because these guys are sit out a nationally televised game. So if you're looking forward to seeing a nationally televised game with some of the best superstars in the NBA and they decide not to play, what you gonna do? You gonna sit and watch the game? No, you're gonna change the channel because you ain't want to see that crap. Because nobody wants to see the role players. They don't want to see these guys who barely making it or whatever. So it's going to hurt them. In 2 years, watch and see. If the players don't change this, they're going to go to a lockout, and the owners are going to win because the owners are not going to agree with this, and the owners are billionaires. And what people are going to say is, oh, the players make good money. Yeah, LeBron James make good money. KD make good money. Steph make good money. James, Russ, Bradley Beal, those guys, those top tier guys. But whenever you start getting to those bench players, they ain't making a whole bunch of money. They're a paycheck away from, not having anything. So watching, you shall see. The owners are going to play hardball. They'll go to, if the players don't come correct, I guarantee you it'll be a lockout, and the owners are going to win because the owners got all types of money coming in from everywhere else. They're billionaires. So them not having their NBA team playing is not going to hurt them. So watch and see. If these players don't get it together, it's going to happen. Mark my words, 2 years, when the collective bargaining agreement comes up where they can opt out, the owners are going to opt out. And it's not going to be a good look for the players. And I'm done with load management because I could talk about that all day and it pisses me off. And so I'm going to get to my final word. And my final word has something to do with what I talked about a few minutes ago whenever it came to AAU. And it's parents. And what I would say is parents living their dreams through their child. That is a big issue, and that's one of the problems that AAU has and sports has today, where some of these parents didn't make it, they weren't good enough, or they didn't even play. And so they want their child and they live their dreams through their child. It's bad that a lot of parents do this, and it's bad for the game because I had two that played, and not one time did I try to push them to do something that I couldn't do or I didn't do, because they have to live themselves and they have to play for themselves and not for me. I will go and support, I will go and be a part of it, but I did not live my dreams through my boys. I didn't live my dreams through my brother because that was different for me. I didn't want to play in the NBA. But you got people now that living their dreams through their kids, and they feel like their kids are this meal ticket that's going to take them over the next level, and it's killing sports. It's killing these kids because if I can say I played freely. The only issue that I have whenever I played, I stressed a little bit about, was I going to get a scholarship? Because I know Curl and Sue, mommy, couldn't afford to send me to college. So everything that she did for me, the best I could do was to get me a scholarship. So that would be one burden off her, because I know she would have tried her best to send me to school, or, whatever I had to do to get in school, she would have tried something like that. But that was the only pressure that I had. Now these kids got that pressure, their parents' pressure, because they have to go home to the same thing. The parents, just bugging the crap out of them about what they should have done, how they should have did it, and what they should do next game. They coaching them in the stands. They trying to make sure that kid gets to the NBA. And this is one thing I say about people trying to get people to the NBA. If you never been there, how do you know how to get there? That is my issue. Like, you can come up with all the reasons why, but I just tell people, you can be good, but to get to the pro level, you have to be more lucky than good. It's a whole lot of people in a whole lot of situations that were really, really good basketball players, or good football players, or good baseball players, and they missed the boat because there's only a certain amount of people can go. I used to tell my brother, he was drafted, I think, 21st by the Utah Jazz in 2009. I used to tell him all the time, he was coached by one coach, and that coach left. And if that coach would have stayed there, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to, down anybody. If that coach would have stayed, my brother would have never went to the NBA. He ended up getting, Anthony Grant as his coach. He saw everything in him. He played to his strengths. He was more lucky than good because he got lucky and got in the right situation. A coach that put him in situations where he could prosper, he could flourish, and he could be, the best at what he could be. And he showed that. And then it also came down to, people coming out that year, what teams needed. So you had to be more lucky than good. But parents living their dreams through these kids is a bad, bad look. I wish parents would just let these kids play and let the chips fall where they may. And stop pressuring these kids to get something or do something. And you push them and you push them and push them. And that's not something they really, really want to do. Because at the end of the day, nobody had to tell me to go to the gym. Nobody had to tell me to go play. Nobody had to go tell me to work on my shot. Nobody had to tell me to work on free throws. Nobody had to tell me how to work on my left hand. None of that stuff. I did it because I wanted to. Now it's more so they're doing it because you want them to, because they're living there. You're living your dreams through them. So if they make it, then you feel like you made it. And that's not the case, and that's not a good thing. So I wish parents would stop it, because that's one thing that's hurting AAU is that all of these parents, that's why these parents are so fueled up and fired up to, and want to fight and, just causing all type of ruckus, because they're trying to push their kid to be something that they're really not. Because let's just keep it real. Some of these kids not good. And it's just getting bad. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And I think it has a lot to do with, some of these people who are ranking kids. You got people ranking third graders and stuff now. After a while, they're going to be ranking, if I play basketball, I have a kid, your kid is going to be top 100 in 2049 or something like that. So, I just feel like they need to, some of this stuff needs to stop. The parents need to stop living their dreams to their kids. Let these kids play free. Let these kids, enjoy sports. Because after a while, I done seen some parents push their kids so much, and kids just be like, oh, I'm not playing no more. And the parents looking around like, I done invested all this time and money and this, that, and the third. But you pushed it on them. And it's nobody's fault but your own. So, that's my final word. I just want to say, stop living dreams through your kids. Let them kids live their own dream, and let them and do that. My nephew Hargrove, I'm gonna take this last comment. He said, I got recruited by Methodist, and my pops asked the coach, how would it make it to the NBA? Most embarrassing moment of my life. Yeah, I mean, you can't do that, man. Some people don't understand it, but it's not going to happen with everybody. Everybody not going to the NBA. You could be something else. You could be a doctor. You could be a lawyer. You could be anything. You can have your own business. You can do whatever you want to do. Just because you go to the NBA or go play professionally, it doesn't make you greater than somebody else or whatever. And so, I just wish everybody stopped living their dreams through their kids. If you have kids and your kids are playing, let them enjoy the sport. Let them make those decisions and see if this is something they really want to push themselves to. So that's going to be the conclusion of the show. I just want to tell everybody thank you for checking it out. I'll be back next Monday, 7:30 Eastern, 8:30. 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, with a host of different other topics. Go follow us on Instagram at This Brother Talks, on Twitter at This Brother Talks, and on Twitter it says talks_this. So go check us out. I'll post it on my page so you can check it out, and I'll definitely I'll be posting stuff on my social media pages and everything. So everybody who checked it out, from Aunt Janet to Hargrove to Neil to Sabrina to Brian to TC, Travis, LJ. If I forgot anybody, I just want to say I appreciate you guys checking it out. Appreciate you guys, commenting and keeping me on my toes. And sometimes if I forget something, like Brian, you helped me out big time with the name of those leagues. I really appreciate it. And Tracy, thank you for checking it out also. Anybody else that checked it out, I appreciate you. Angela, I showed a shirt and it says, "Where in the heck is Rayford, North Carolina?" That's my hometown. Everybody already know what time it is. Hey, peace and love to everybody. Everybody have a great week. See you next week.